Well, folks, here we are again, time for the weekly forecast. Before we get to the main forecast, if we take a look at this past week, the two big items were the scattered thunderstorm activity across the state. Basically, there were some areas where we did get pockets of heavy downpours, but for the most part, fairly close to normal to slightly below normal precipitation, especially the farther west you went. And then, of course, the temperatures. We did see some very hot conditions develop during this period, and we also seen our dew point temperatures come up rather dramatically as we were pushing the 60s into the low 70s, made it for very miserable conditions. Then, of course, yesterday we started to see that cold front move through that did bring scattered thunderstorms to eastern Nebraska. But in retrospect, what that's going to mean is much cooler air in store for this weekend. It's going to be a beautiful weekend for most folks in the state. And then as we go through next week, we'll be watching for the increasing chances of thunderstorm activity, particularly as we approach the 4th of July holiday. So let's take a look at the upper air models and see what we may have in store. And as we go to the upper air models, the one thing I'll draw your attention to is we have this big ridge to the west, and then we have this trough that's trying to develop across the Great Lakes. And this is going to intensify and deepen as we go through the next few days, and it's going to push that high pressure system farther to the west and allow much cooler air to come in. So for today, we're expecting a northwest flow, much cooler temperatures, a little bit drier air. There may be the outside chance for some scattered thunderstorms, particularly extreme northeastern Nebraska. But as we go to tomorrow, you'll start to see that this trough dives down and pushes the cooler air back toward the west. So we'll start to see some relief working into western Nebraska, but very cool temperatures across eastern Nebraska. And another piece of energy may move across northeast and extreme eastern Nebraska that may generate an isolated thunderstorm, but we're not expecting anything major. Now, as we go into Monday, we'll notice that trough really digs down into the mid-Mississippi River Valley, and we have this cold fetch coming from our north, so very cool conditions will continue into Monday. And then we will start to see that ridge trying to build up toward the Canadian border, and this upper air low basically sits in place over the central Corn Belt. And as it does that, we may see pieces of energy pivot around this that might bring a slight chance for thunderstorm activity. But as we get into Wednesday, this low starts to push back a little bit farther west. And if it does, we will see an increasing chance for afternoon thunderstorms, particularly across western Nebraska, where we may have a little bit of an upslope flow component. Now, as we get into Thursday, we'll start to see this trough trying to move its way around, but we also got several spokes of energy that are moving through the region, and it's expected, if the models are correct, that we'll see scattered thunderstorm activity for the 4th of July, unfortunately. And then we will see those chances lessen as all of that energy drops around the southern plains. So the southern half of Nebraska has the best chance for thunderstorm activity next Friday. If we take a look at the temperatures, we're going to know some very, very nice temperatures, more spring-like temperatures to late spring temperatures in the summer, but then we'll be below normal. And we have those scattered thunderstorm activity chances during the midweek period. 8 to 14 for next Thursday through the following Tuesday. Looks for below normal temperatures to our south in terms of precipitation. Looking like most of the moisture moved to our east and well below normal precipitation across the northern plains.